Alright, I just got done cleaning the Frankenstein castle here. Not. You kind of like walk around this stuff and put your hand on the wall so you don't tip over, because you got to go on an angle. And I got my box of gauges here, and I just put, there it is over there, I just put the headlight switch in, and I'll turn it around so you can see what it's going to look like. Okay, so an old Chevy headlight switch. Now it gives you a backing ring. This threads into the switch and holds the switch up against the back of the dash. So what I did was, you know, I drilled a hole out in the fiberglass dashboard, but there's like a behind here on the switch, there's like a little tab sticking out, and in the hole that you cut, you're supposed to file a little tab, a little hole, so that tab goes in there, so the whole gauge won't, you know, turn when you're turning the knob for the rheostat to make the dash lights brighter or dimmer. But in fiberglass, it's not. After a while, it'll wear out. So what I want to do is make something more solid. So I put this little plate here, and I tack welded it onto the switch. And I was real careful not to put too much heat, because there's plastic pieces right here. All right, and then I mounted it, and I figured I'd come through with a screw, which I did. But what happened was, because this wasn't flat, the base of the switch here was touching, but this wasn't. So I took it all off, and I put some more fiberglass down here, and I covered this little plate and the face of the switch with some wide cellophane tape, because the fiberglass won't stick to that. And then I mushed it down into the fiberglass, and I put that ring in the back, and I tightened it up so it would hold it in place. And I let it dry. So now it's dry. And then I drilled and tapped. I'll show you on the other side. See the little screw there on the top? That's going to lock it from turning, in addition to the fiberglass that I put over here on the side and over here. So I kind of built up this surface up so this plate won't turn. And then I put a screw through it. And that'll lock that down. Okay, so I got that. We're working on all the wiring now. Let me show you what I got inside the car. Again, walk around the edge. You need a road map to get through here. It's a wonder I can get anything done. Oh golly. Okay, there's all the wires. What I ended up doing, I put the fuse panel on the firewall up in there. You know what? I'm going to shut this off for a second. I'm going to put a light in here so you can see better. Well, my light is broke. It's a halogen bulb, and it snapped. But as you can see, I got a hell of a mess. I mean, excuse me, a heck of a mess. I got the fuse panel mounted there. This heavy cable here, this is what brings the juice from the battery in the trunk. Came out of a BMW. You can see it's almost as round as my thumb. It's huge. So I brought that forward, and I went through, and it even had, I still had the rubber grommet for the BMW that it went through their wall. Let's see if I can get back up here and get on the other side. So I ran it through the firewall, and it came out here, and I run it up to one side of my solenoid. And then on the same side, you run your fusible link, and that goes back and powers the fuse panel and all the junk inside. But I got my voltage regulator here, and I ran all the wires down. Of course, they're not taped up. They're not going to be until I'm all sure that everything's right, because then just my luck, I'll be frying something and I got to unwrap it all and find out where the bad wire is. So I got the alternator finally wired. It's not bolted in. You can see it's loose here, but it's just in place just to see how much wire I needed. Ran the wire. This is going to be over here. It's going to be all taped together in a loom. I had an old Chevy pickup. I took all the wire looms out. I took everything out of that thing. Anyways, so I'm running it through the firewall here. Got the ballast resistors all wired up. It's almost, oh, a really good book. I bought this years ago. What a great book. It's called How to Build a T-Bucket Roadster on a Budget by Chester Greenhaw. This book, you don't have to build a T-Bucket, but this guy that wrote this book, I mean, I don't know if you can see the wiring diagrams. I mean, he's got it all drawn out for you. This guy reminds me of Rich Peak's friend there, Mike. He's got all the diagrams. What's this one? A right indicator. I mean, you trace these patterns or cut the pages out of the book and put them on the firewall. I mean, he's got everything. How to make the frame, how to make the dash, all kinds of diagrams. What's this one? This is a template, a Model A radiator shell mount template, and that's how, I guess you fold a piece and that'll hold it on the right angle or something. Here's what are these? Brake pedal templates. If you want to cut out your own brake pedal. Gives you the dimensions. He walks you right through it from day one. You know, building the frame and everything. Great book, how to wire and stuff. And I use it to help me with the hot rod. Great book. Anyways, so I got all that done. What else did I get done? I ran the wires into the directionals. They're not in a wire loom yet. I got the grounder there. 3 wires now. Same thing on this side, so it'll be directionals. These wires here are going to be, these are the high and low beam power feeds. I haven't made up my mind yet whether I'm actually going to use these to, each wire runs both headlights. And I don't know if they're heavy duty enough. I'm not quite sure, because I called Hot Rod Wires about it, and they say, oh, they'll handle the headlights that originally were in your Jeep. Well, I don't have the headlights that are originally in the Jeep. I put in some halogens. I mean, they're only 65 watts. They're not like super brights or anything, but he couldn't give me an answer. He would play it safe and just say they'll handle what was in there originally. So I'm thinking what I might have to do. I got some relays. I may have to use these wires here to trigger a relay, and then from the relay come forward with heavier wire. So that's why these haven't been run yet into the headlight. What else? I got the new Wildwood clutch master cylinder in. It's not working right, figures. So I don't know, I may have to go back to the Ford one again and turn it or something so I can get the hood on here. But let's go back inside. What else did I do today? Let's see. Maybe if I can see it, it'll jog my memory. Well, I know you can't really make it out, but the wiring harness goes over to the steering column. I ran it down, ran the wires into the directional light plug. The plug that came with the kit, the harness, it says to use for the feed, which is a heavier wire. It says you put on one of these little, they're in here. Put on these clips, right? So you put the bigger clip versus the little clip, you know, because this handles more amperage. It says use this one for the feed. Well, that's all well and good, but this doesn't fit in the slot of the plug that they supply. You know what I mean? It's like this is the original one out of the Jeep, and the big one fit in there. Okay? But theirs wouldn't. They gave me a plastic piece like this, but their fitting wouldn't fit in here. So I had to pull out the wires out of the Jeep and run the harness wires into the Jeep plug. So now the Jeep plug will go back into there. Blah blah blah. Okay, so I got the direction lights hooked up. I'm working on the headlights now. This is the headlight. Actually, this is actually the headlight harness. It's a funny thing though. They don't. The kit says. Where's the paper? I'll even show you. Headlight harness switch. Okay. See the top? It says red battery feed. What does that tell you? Does that mean I run the red wire to a battery? It says orange. Power from taillight and park light fuse. Now does that mean I run the orange? No. What it turns out that means on this particular section here, it means that the red wire is coming from the battery feed, and you stick the red wire into where the original red wire was, which is all well and good. But if you're building a hot rod and you don't have an original setup, you have no clue what goes where. So that's what I really didn't like about this harness setup. Your light blue dimmer switch. Okay, now the light blue wire does go to the dimmer switch. Okay, so I run it to the dimmer switch. The orange one and the red one are already run. They go into the fuse panel. So it's like, okay, this one I have to put somewhere, but these I don't, and it doesn't differentiate which ones is which. Okay? Now, what's confusing on top of that is this dark green wire here. It says to dash light fuse. Alright, it goes to a dash light fuse. Now I traced it back, and it goes into the fuse panel. So I'm assuming it's going to go to a fuse that's for the dash lights. Alright, now I traced the orange one back. That goes into the fuse panel. So it's okay. The orange one is the power from the taillight and park light fuse. Alright, so I got these two lines that go back into the fuse panel that go to fuses. The problem is where these wires plug into. Right here we got the orange wire and the brown. Where they plug into the light switch, there's continuity. When you pull out the light switch to turn on the headlights, it connects the dark green, which is to a fuse for the dash light fuse. It connects that one to the tail light and park light fuse. Now, why would you hook up two wires to two different fuses? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, I mean, I don't know. It's really, really confusing. They should have written these directions a little bit more clearer. Like up here, this is fine. The wires that were tagged rear harness, it says the brown wire, tail light and license plate light. All right, so I just ran it to the back of the car, ran it to the small filaments in the tail lights, and I ran another wire off of that to where the license plate light's going to be. And then the yellow one, it says it goes to the left rear signal and stop light. Okay, so I ran the yellow wire to the back of the car for the left side, dark green for the right side. I ran it to the right side. It's great. Tan goes to the fuel tank sensor. No problem. But when you get over here, this is all. I just don't understand that at all. The dimmer switch here. Light green is high beam, tan is low beam, no problem. Power from the headlight switch, light blue. That's the light blue one right here. Okay, now up here it says light blue. If you traced it back, it doesn't go into the fuse panel, so I have to assume it goes down here. It's the same light blue here that says just run it to the dimmer switch. So that's going to be that's actually the feed that'll run either the high or the low, or when you pull on the direction light switch, it'll actually when you're in low beam, it'll actually flash the high beams. So I got kind of, you know, I'm doing it, but it's pretty screwed up. It's slow work. And then I got the fear of, you know, wiring it wrong and frying it, and then I'm really sunk. But the battery box is going to go over there behind the roll bar here. I don't know. So we're just kind of going slow and working at it. I guess there's only a couple more things that I haven't wired up. I'm going to put the gauges in the dash now. And this harness here, I believe, this says right turn signal, oil pressure engine sensor, and dash harness. So this is for the gauges. So I'll have this, you know, up under here, and that'll just go to the gauges. This is the wire. This is the feed for the wiper motor. This says the dimmer switch harness. So these are the wires that are going over there. But again, if I use a relay, that I don't know. It's you know, I'd have to look to see, are these the same wires, the tan and the light green, are they the same ones that are in the front of the car? I'd have to trace it. I would assume they were, because if it's coming off the dimmer switch and then out into the headlights, this has to be the other end of those hanging out on the front. But I don't know. I know that doesn't look. It looks like that's 16 gauge, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be heavy enough to run the halogens. I know. I was told halogens when they first come on, they draw just for a split second a huge amount of amperage, so it burns the contacts a little bit more. Then after a while, you lose your headlight switch and stuff. So one reason why I wanted to go to the relays. Anyways, so this is my mess, and this is what I got done so far past couple of days. If you've been watching the video, the updating video, it's really not much to watch, but it's just if you read the comments that I put in there every day that I have worked on it, I've written down what I've done, and this is basically what it all looks like in here. So anywho, it's not like I haven't been busy, but it's a pain in the neck. Oh, and I bought a bunch of stuff over here, some jegs. I got these circuit breakers. Now these manual reset too. You can plug these right into where your push-in type fuses go, so you can have circuit breakers. And this is a cover for the main circuit breaker, which is here. This is a 50 amp circuit breaker. So this is going to come off. The battery's it's gonna come off the battery. It goes to a 200 amp main disconnect, and then from there it's gonna go to that heavy wire that feeds the starter, and then to this, and then this. Let me think. How's that gonna work? I think I have to. Maybe I may even have to eliminate this because I changed my plan. Before I was running all the wires to the back of the truck, back of the trunk, and I was going to use this, so the fusible link should go to this. But seeing how I got the fusible link on the starter relay, I won't even need this anymore, so that's junk. I got all kinds of relays here. I should have, oh, the grounding straps. I bought 2 grounding straps. I got 2 of these. Nice big ones. Okay. And this will ground the body. I'll run it from the firewall to the frame, and another one from the motor to the frame. So there'll be a really good connection for grounding. And you can see right there, I welded a 1/2 inch bolt right to the floor. Now the floors in this thing are 1/8 inch thick. So from the negative of the battery, it's going right into the floor to a bolt. All right, and that's why it's going to be really important up front in the firewall to ground it well, so the current will be able to pass through the floor and anything off the firewall into the motor for the starter and everything. So somewhere down in here, I'll go from probably the bell housing bolt to the frame, and maybe on the other side, same thing, bell housing to the firewall or something like that. But she's getting there. She's getting there. Looks kind of busy. You know, I was running out of room to where to hide everything, and I decided don't worry about keeping it clean looking. I'll just hang it on the firewall and make it look as good as I can. Oh, and Rich, Mr. Peak, I got one of those Pertronics electronic ignitions too, hidden right in the stock distributor cap. And you're right, you just run the red wire. If you look, hold on, I got the, okay. Hold on a minute. Now here's my ballast resistor. Now here's the instructions that came. I'm sure you got a set. Right there. The high voltage side would be on here. If you have a low voltage problem, it's because you got the red wire from out of the Pertronics igniter. You got it on the other side of the resistor. So in other words, the voltage is coming in, going through the resistor, and then into the electronic ignition. And that might cause a low voltage setup. So you put it on the other side of the ballast resistor. And it says here, this is the wire to the ignition switch. That's the wire to the igniter, and it's on this side. So if I look in that book that I was just showing you about how to build a T-bucket, you got the distributor here, you got your negative side of the coil, plus side of the coil. The red wire, well, I drew this in, the red wire of the igniter comes out, it comes down and goes to this side of the ballast resistor. Okay, and then from here it goes up and over to your starter solenoid. Okay, now on the ignition, it comes out of here, comes up and over and around to here, into here. Okay, into your ballast resistor, and then into the coil. But if you run the red wire, maybe I said that wrong. If you run the red wire down to the other side, to this side of the ballast resistor, you're getting the voltage here. Yeah, that's right. That's why this is crossed out. I'm sorry. I think I said that wrong. You put it on this side of the ballast resistor, so it gets full voltage. Okay, and then the black wire out of it comes into the negative side. But I mean, this is for a Ford. He's got it a basic setup, how to wire your gauges. He's got it for this one here is General Motors wiring diagram. Another General Motors with an external voltage regulator. One with an internal voltage. I mean, this he's great, and he's down to earth. Plus, he even tells you which speedometers are cool to use if you're using all different kinds. You got Stuart Warner, one out of an MG Midget, an International Pickup, Travelall Scout, mid-60s Oldsmobile, a Love Pickup. Remember the old, I think that was before the S10s came out, the Love, Chevy Love trucks. Right down to a Volkswagen Beetle. It says he doesn't like those, and he rated that as a 0. But he rated them as best right down to the worst. He's a really, really cool guy. Really cool guy. Great book if you ever find one. They're out of print now. I bought this, oh crap, years and years ago. But still helping me. So, alright. I'm running out of battery here. There we, this is the video. We're just wiring. That's why it doesn't look like anything's getting done on my videos. I've been busy, but nothing's really changing yet except that it's getting wiring. I suppose with the ignition done and the directionals done, I don't really need those to start the car. I could throw the antifreeze back in. But I don't want to do that because I got a freeze plug that let go over here, rusted through. Okay, so I bought some freeze plugs. I got to change that. Got to pull the headers off to get at it. It's under there. That's why I drained the antifreeze. So I'll have to do that before we fire it up again. I got to make sure the clutch works and the brakes work. I got to rebleed those. I had to move the brake lines again. I wasn't happy with the brake lines for the front here. They kept kinking. When you turn the wheel, the brake hose kept kinking, so I had to find a spot where to put it so they wouldn't do that anymore. But what a mess. But I ain't got no room. I don't have any place to put anything else, and I don't want to get rid of it all because I still need it. Once the car's running, I can get rid of a ton of this stuff, or when it's finished. A lot of stuff I won't need anymore. Well, all right, I'm gonna put this video up, and then I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna start sticking the gauges in the dashboard, and maybe we'll start wiring that up, and be cool. Be cool. Oh, and I had a video up on how I had my roof done, and I wasn't happy with the people that did it. Well, I did that video on YouTube. Well, they didn't like that, and they decided to give me $500 to take it down so nobody else would see it. So I got $500 to go into the hot rod, and that'll get me my glass, my door glass, and my windshield. What else? I sold an old Fender amplifier I had, guitar amp. I got some money for that, so that'll get me, what else do I have yet? Let's see, windshield, windows, oh, wipers. Crap, I even have enough, you know, if I wanted to hold off on a lot of stuff. $650, I can get a heater and an air conditioner for this thing. Wouldn't that be neat? Got air conditioning in our rat rod. Oh my god. But then I'd have to save up money again for my glass and the wipers and all that. I think I'm going to end up. I'm really getting sick of makeshifting everything. So I think what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to buy those 2 single wiper motors with the dual switch, drill the holes, put them in, bang, done. Have the glass in there first, so make sure they're up against it properly. Then I can probably glue in the rearview mirror onto the glass, and then I got the little peep wind mirror that clamps onto the door for that. And it's coming along, but this is almost the end of June. Parade's coming in July, and I don't think I'm going to be ready. But at least it was a good try. But I'm still pushing forward. All right, let me. Been talking enough here. I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to get back to work, and I'll put this video up so you can see what's going on. It's a cool motor, huh? Jeez. All right. Take care. Bye, YouTube land. Me and Frankie signing off. Cool.